ACR, the system sampling your screen every half second. The television in your living room is taking 2 screenshots per second right now. Not your phone, not your laptop, your TV. Every smart television manufactured since approximately 2012 contains a system called ACR, Automatic Content Recognition, and it is enabled by default the moment you complete the setup screen. The Texas Attorney General's office, in its December 2025 lawsuits against 5 of the world's largest TV manufacturers, described it as an uninvited, invisible digital invader. Here is how it works. Software embedded in your TV captures a screenshot of whatever is displayed on screen every 500 milliseconds. That is twice per second. Continuously. Each screenshot is compared against a fingerprinting database of known content: broadcast television, cable channels, streaming shows, films, DVDs, Blu-rays, and downloaded video files. The system identifies what you are watching by matching the visual pattern of the pixels on screen. It does not read data from your streaming service. It does not look at your remote's input history. It watches the screen itself. Once identified, the data is logged. What you watched, when you watched it, how long, what you skipped, what you watched next. All time-stamped. All tied to your device's unique identifier. Every manufacturer uses a different name. Samsung calls it Viewing Information Services. LG calls it Live Plus. Vizio named theirs Smart Interactivity. The function is identical. In 2017, the FTC fined Vizio $2.2 million specifically for collecting ACR data without adequate disclosure to users. This is a confirmed, settled case. The practice was ruled real and illegal in its implementation. Vizio paid. The practice continued across the industry under different names. The HDMI input discovery that changes everything. Most people assume that if they watch content through an external device, a PlayStation, a laptop, an Apple TV, a cable box, their TV is simply a screen, not a participant. This assumption is wrong. ACR monitors the signal displayed on screen regardless of its source. Your TV's ACR system samples the pixels output by every HDMI connected device the same way it samples a Netflix stream opened in the TV's own app. The television does not distinguish between its own applications and external inputs. What this means specifically: if you watch a film through your PlayStation, your TV identifies the film and logs the viewing session. You never opened a single app on the TV itself. You never agreed to share viewing data with the TV manufacturer. Your PlayStation sent a signal to a screen, and the screen reported what it saw. The Texas AG complaint against Sony specifically cited HDMI monitoring. Sony secretly monitors what consumers watch across streaming apps, cable, and even connected devices like gaming consoles or Blu-ray players. The same allegation appears in the complaints against Samsung, LG, Hisense, and TCL, all 5 manufacturers. All 5 named the HDMI input as part of the documented collection. The Texas AG's office also obtained temporary restraining orders against both Hisense and Samsung, legally blocking them from collecting or sharing ACR data on Texas residents while the cases proceeded. Samsung subsequently settled, agreeing to halt ACR collection without explicit user consent and implement clear disclosure screens during setup. The cases against Sony, LG, Hisense, and TCL remain active. The China angle nobody discusses in coverage of smart TVs. 2 of the 5 manufacturers named in the Texas lawsuit, Hisense and TCL, are Chinese companies. TCL is partially state-owned. The Texas AG complaint against TCL contains a specific allegation that most coverage of the lawsuit skips over. Chinese law requires domestic companies to share data with the Chinese government upon request. The complaint states, "Nowhere does TCL disclose to Texas consumers that every image and sound on their TCL smart TV is collected, stored, and will be shared with the Chinese Communist Party upon request." The AG's office argued that TCL's ACR data, including screenshots of anything displayed on the TV, in any room, from any source, is legally accessible to the Chinese government on demand. This is not a claim that the data has been transferred. It is a claim that the legal structure makes such transfer possible without any additional breach required. Hisense faces the same allegation. Both Hisense and TCL are in the top 5 TV manufacturers in the United States by market share. The microphone that stays on. Every smart TV with a voice assistant, Samsung Bixby, LG ThinQ, Amazon Alexa built-in, Google Assistant, contains a microphone that operates in a low-power listening state whenever the TV is on. This is the mechanism that allows Hey Google or Hi Bixby to activate without pressing a button. The microphone is always listening for those trigger words. The TV does not require you to press anything. It requires you to speak. In 2015, Samsung's own privacy policy for their smart TV voice recognition feature contained this specific line. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party. This was published in Samsung's own documentation and reported by the Daily Beast in February 2015. Not discovered by a security researcher. Published in the product's own policy, visible to anyone who read it. The named third party was Nuance Communications, a voice recognition company later acquired by Microsoft in 2022. Your voice data from your Samsung TV was going to what is now a Microsoft subsidiary. The documented concern from security researchers is more specific than the general "is my TV listening" fear. Voice command processing, whether handled on device or on external servers, transmits audio that includes context around the trigger word, nearby conversation, background audio, the sound of the room at the moment of activation. What leaves the device includes more than the intended command. A security researcher testing voice command transmission found that audio packets sent during command processing extended several seconds beyond the spoken command itself. The content of those additional seconds was ambient audio from the room. Smart TVs have never had a visual indicator of microphone activation comparable to the orange dot Apple introduced on iPhones in 2020. Your TV does not show you when its microphone is active. Nothing on the screen changes. The operating system layer, the ACR system, and the microphone are device level. Below and around them is a second independent tracking layer, the TV's operating system. Samsung's Tizen OS collects app usage data, content preferences, and device interaction patterns. Samsung's privacy policy states this data is shared with trusted business partners, a phrase that in consumer data contexts means third-party data brokers and analytics companies whose names are never shown to users. LG's WebOS collects viewing history and usage data. LG's ACR data flows to Nielsen and Comscore, two of the largest television audience measurement firms in the world. The household panel methodology Nielsen used for decades, asking hundreds of selected families to record what they watched, is being replaced by near-complete ACR data from millions of devices simultaneously. The new system is not a sample. It is approaching the full population of smart TV owners. Google TV and Android TV are present in a significant portion of smart TVs sold in the United States. Sony televisions, TCL, Hisense, and others run Google TV as their operating system. Every interaction with a Google TV interface, search queries, content browsed but not selected, app usage patterns, generates data that flows into Google's advertising infrastructure. Google TV is Android with a television interface. It operates under the same data collection framework as an Android phone. If you bought a Sony, TCL, or Hisense TV with Google TV built in, Google is collecting data independently of whatever the TV manufacturer's ACR system is doing. Two companies collecting from the same device simultaneously. Roku's operating system is present in TCL, Hisense, and other manufacturers' TVs, as well as Roku's own hardware. Roku's investor disclosures explicitly describe their business model as advertising supported. Roku earns revenue by selling targeted advertising based on viewing data collected from Roku devices. The low price of Roku TVs is subsidized by the data the platform collects from them. This is in their investor documents. It is not on the box. Amazon Fire TV connects viewing data with Amazon purchase history and Alexa interaction history. If you have an Amazon account for shopping, Prime, or Alexa, your Fire TV viewing data is being cross-referenced with your purchasing and listening behavior across the entire Amazon ecosystem. The television is another node in Amazon's profile of your household. In early 2026, Kentucky's state legislature passed HB 692, a bill designating ACR data as sensitive under Kentucky's consumer privacy law, requiring explicit consent before collection. It passed the House 92-0. Texas and Kentucky now represent the leading edge of state-level legislative action against smart TV data collection. The federal level has not yet followed. The app inside the TV. Above the operating system sits the streaming app layer. Netflix, Disney+, YouTube, Prime Video running as applications within the TV's OS. Each app operates its own tracking independently of both the TV manufacturer's ACR and the OS level collection. Netflix tracks what you watch, when you pause, when you rewind, what you abandon at which exact timestamp, what you browse without selecting, how long you spend on a title card before moving on. This data is used for content commissioning and recommendation. Netflix commissions shows and cancels them based partly on viewing patterns collected through this tracking. The data stacking problem most people have never considered. A viewer watching a film on Netflix through a Samsung TV with Google TV built in generates simultaneous data collection from three completely independent systems: Netflix's app tracking, Google TV's operating system tracking, Samsung's ACR pixel sampling from the screen itself. All three run simultaneously. None of them communicate with each other. None of them know what the other two are collecting. All three send the data to different destinations. Where the data goes. The collected data does not stay with the manufacturer. It flows through a commercial pipeline to advertising companies, audience measurement firms, and data brokers. Nielsen and Comscore, the companies that measured television audiences through voluntary household panels for decades, now receive ACR data from multiple manufacturers. This shift means audience measurement is no longer a sample. It is approaching the full population of smart TV owners. Data brokers, including Experian, Axiom, and LiveRamp, purchase viewing data and combine it with data from other sources, purchase history, location data, social media behavior, to build comprehensive household profiles. Vizio's data division, called Inscape, generated $47.2 million in revenue in 2022 from selling viewing data, according to their public financial disclosures before Walmart acquired the company. That is a division of a TV manufacturer, not an advertising company. A company that makes televisions generating $47 million annually from selling information about what people watched. The commercial logic: knowing that a specific household watched 3 hours of automotive content last week, then searched for car insurance on a phone, then visited a dealership's website via location data, allows an advertiser to place a car advertisement at the precise moment of highest purchase intent. Each data point alone is marginal. Combined with data from other sources, it is commercially significant enough to generate $47 million a year from a single mid-size TV brand. The settings that don't fully work, and one that does. Every smart TV has a settings menu claiming to disable data collection. On Samsung, settings arrow privacy arrow viewing information services. On LG, settings arrow general arrow live plus. Disabling these toggles reduces the manufacturer's ACR collection. Two things those settings do not do. First, firmware updates have been documented resetting these toggles to their default enabled state across multiple manufacturers without notifying users. If you turned this off in 2023, it may have been re-enabled by a software update in 2024. Second, disabling Samsung's ACR does not disable Google TV's data collection on a Samsung TV that runs Google TV. The manufacturer's ACR toggle and the operating system's data collection are separate systems in separate menus. Turning off one does nothing to the other. The one method that actually works across all of these systems simultaneously: a DNS-level network filter. A Pi-hole, a piece of open-source software running on a small computer on your home network, blocks the specific domain smart TVs use to transmit ACR and tracking data. The TV still streams. It still works. It simply cannot reach the servers it uses to report what you watched. This is the approach technical users implement. It requires a small amount of setup. It addresses the problem at the network level rather than at the TV's own settings, which means it cannot be overridden by a firmware update. The simplest step available to anyone right now: open your TV's settings menu, find the privacy or data section, and disable every toggle visible. Note the location. After the next automatic firmware update, check whether those toggles are still in the position you set them. They may not be. The television in your living room is a data collection device that also plays video. The hardware is priced the way it is because the viewing data subsidizes it. This is the same model as free apps and advertising-supported services. The difference is the device is in the room where most households spend the most time. The same data collection model running inside your TV runs inside most of the apps on your phone. Every free app that is secretly selling you, that video is on screen right now.